and welcome to class. Another opportunity to learn online has presented itself. In this lesson, I will be teaching you the poetic devices and thematic analysis of the poem, The Song of the Women of My Land by Omar Farouk Sise. The first thing to note about the poem is that it is an elegy. An elegy is a poem of serious reflection, typically a lament for the dead. The poem reflects about women who were able to persevere in the face of oppression, women who are normal, women who were victimized, women who once tilled the land in dignity, despite the suffering and pain they had to endure. Another thing to note about the poem is that it is a free verse poem. A free verse poem does not follow a specified rhyme scheme or pattern. I hope you still recall what rhyme scheme is all about. This is an example of a poem that does not have a rhyme scheme or pattern. The poem has a lot of run-on lines. Run-on line is also called enjambment. Take note of the pronunciation. The B is silent. Enjambment is the continuation of a sentence or phrase from one line of poetry to the next. An enjambed line lacks punctuation, so the reader is carried smoothly and swiftly without interruption to the next line of the poem. Take a look at this poem. You will discover that the first line runs into the second line where the punctuation mark appears. The second line is an extension of the first line. So, how many lines has this poem? Let's look at the poetic devices employed in the poem. Diction. On the whole, the diction of the poem is quite simple and easy to understand. The choice of verbs, it is largely appropriate for a poem that says so much about the labor and hard work of very simple women who were peasant farmers. First is chisels. To chisel at a log means to work on it bit by bit. It is a gradual thing. It indicates how time gradually eroded the memory of the women. Next is labored. Labored is used to show the harrowing and unpleasant experiences that the women had to put up with. Plowed. Plowed is synonymous with labored. The women tilled and plowed the soil and their soul. Personification. It means to give human attributes or qualities to inanimate objects. What do you think is being personified in this line? Time chisels away bits of their memory. Of course, the answer is time. Time is being made to do what a human being can do. To chisel is an action word. It indicates how with the passage of time, gradually, the memory of the women was faded into oblivion. More examples of personification. Can you identify the things or the items that are being personified in these expressions? Simile, like a sculptor chipping away at bits of wood. Remember the definition of simile? To sculpture like. We compare two different things with the use of like or as. That's simile. More examples of simile. Like their souls looking for lyrics. Stripped of lyrics like a scorned ghost. Alliteration is a figure of sound. It means the repetition of the same consonant sound at the beginning of closely related words. To tell the tale of the servitude, T is alliterated there. Who plowed their soil and soul, S is alliterated there. Who labored and died, leaving a dying song, L and D are alliterated in the last sentence. Allusion. Allusion means an indirect reference to a person or a thing or an event. In the poem, the poet alluded to the era of slavery, where women had to work in unfavorable conditions in different plantations across Europe. Now, let's look at the themes of the poem. The first is the plight of women in African society. In the poem, the women went through a lot of unpleasant and harrowing experiences, and they were able to bear these ugly experiences with remarkable and enviable dignity. Next is the soothing nature of songs. The women went through a lot, no doubt, but in spite of their ugly experiences, they still had time to come together to sing. It is their song that now tells their story of everything that they went through. The theme of hope. The poet believes that his poem has the power to restore and preserve the lofty deeds of the departed women of Africa. He believes that with his poem, the women who were victimized and went through a lot are being immortalized. If not for the poem, you and I would not have known what the women went through. Alright, it is on this note that I bring the lesson to a close. Until I come your way again, goodbye for now.